Welcome back to Lesscashmoremash. My name's Tom.
Mike.
And today we're cracking open a semi-new bottle of Field and Sound whiskey. Maritime whiskey. See if I remember to edit that one into the first part of it.
It is Maritime.
So it does say that. So that's supposed to bring out the salt flavor in the whiskey or something like that.
That's
I did
sweet.
read something about that at one point in time. So this is a bottled and bond bourbon. So that makes it at least 4 years. Has to be done in the same season. You'd go back and read all the things. It is 100 proof. Steve, this is a bottle. Super fan of the channel, Steve, picked this one up. He got it for $39.99. This happened to be batch 2 of 2022. This is made by Long Island Spirits. It's a craft distiller on Long Island, New York, in Baton Hollow, New York. So this is a high rye mash bill. It's 60% corn, 33% rye, 7% malted barley. And it is, they made stress on their website that they only use locally grown grain. So that was one of the things I wanted to write down.
And the corn, and the rye.
Yeah, all the grain is locally grown. They want to make sure everything is like that. And they use a sweet mash.
They get the salt water right out of Long Island.
Yep, they use a sweet mash fermentation technique, which I did Google this a million years ago. So you have the sour mash, like the sour bread dough, where they use a little bit of the old one sweet mash is, I believe they start fresh each time. And you can correct me if I'm not right on that, but I believe they don't use the sour mash. Like it's more expensive. Yeah,
probably not going to correct you because I would not know.
No. I'm just figuring somebody else might. Again, I thank you for everyone. I don't take any offense when you guys have more knowledge than me and you correct me on something that I've said. Just keep in mind, I say it because I read it and I do realize that sometimes the Google machine lies.
And I say to fuck with them. So.
No, honestly, no, because there was a couple facts like I had said something about.
Yeah, you did get corrected pretty lengthily.
It just happened the other day too because I said something about monkey shoulder being like only one single grain one, but there are a lot of single that aren't, whatever it was. I forget what that didn't have the multi things. But again, I went off of whatever the website said. So
I could say this.
Yes.
This nose right out of this is better than the 2 that we did yesterday, right off the bat.
Again, this is the funny thing that I can't stress enough to you guys. I'm not complaining about the whiskeys because we did like them when we tried them. But sometimes you get whiskeys and you're like, what happened to these things? And those last 2 the other day were that example. They were decent on the flavor, but there was zero nose coming out.
It took forever to get the nose.
Yes, I agree with you with 100%.
This one, it's right out of the bottle. I've not even ever seen this before.
In 10 proof less.
But the nose is there. And I might even be getting a light mint out of this one, which is going to screw me.
Funny he should say that. Wait till you try it.
Oh, is that why you pulled this one out of the
No, I just realized it when I just smelt it.
No, because I'm thinking 33, that's not really a high rye.
I just smelt it. So the funny thing is we've done a bunch of high rye bourbons and I didn't get mint. Remember I told you one of Steve's tasted like I was drinking a rye, but it's a bourbon. We just found which one of the 10 up there is that because it
Good choice, dickhead.
You picked it. I said, grab one. You're like, whatever you grab. It was the first one I grabbed.
Oh.
So this does bring, I am getting a mint off the nose.
I would get screwed on this one.
When Steve and I did it, we didn't get mint off the nose right away. So I know he's watching, but we got it on a palate. Like as I swallowed, I was getting a mint.
I would not call this a bourbon.
Mm-mm.
Oh, and some whiskey?
Mm-mm.
It's a bourbon. Right.
I just wrote whiskey because
I'm reading it
said
scratch.
Because look, Field and whiskey, but it does say it's a bottled and bond straight bourbon whiskey. I just went off it when I was writing it down.
This is almost an automatic loser for me in the blind.
It is Steve's bottle, so chances are it won't stay here, so you'll be all set with
or
that.
He hates it and it'll be back.
And then if he doesn't like it, I got to be honest with you. Because it does have bourbon-esque qualities. This actually is less minty than the one we drank. I went back to that last night.
Not than the Woodford.
No. Yeah, I bet it is.
No.
I'm telling you, you know why? In the front of this one?
I don't even know if it's even less than the Sagamore.
It's less. What is the one we just did? It wasn't Rocktown. It was the one we just did. We just did it. Man.
I'm definitely got it. I would definitely.
Oh, the Driftless Glen was more minty than this one.
Yeah, but that one kind of does fall in it. That does fall there. This one,
No, because that was a
I
rye.
wasn't
I'm just saying.
I know this is not a rye.
This was what I'm chalking because at 33% rye, I want to say 32% rye is Old Granddad, and I never got a mint off an Old
So
Granddad.
I wonder though,
you know what I
if
mean?
it's because of that
Sweet mash fermentation. I
wonder
don't
if-
know.
I wonder if that enhances and doesn't dull it down.
I want to stress this though. I want to stress this, and you can disagree with me if you want to disagree with me, but this is a small. I'm assuming a small distillery because it's in New York, and they're not Kentucky.
Island, so
you know what I'm saying? And
They don't
Long
have
Island
45 acres.
isn't very big, but the price for a New York, because New York is expensive. Let's just be honest with each other.
Can't even get
So-
friggin' a soda for it.
Exactly, $39.99 for 100 proof at minimum of 4-year bourbon. That I am getting fresh baked bread in the beginning with a mint jelly on it. I am getting all the characteristics. I am.
I wouldn't say the mint jelly, but I do. I
get a minty fresh.
There's
at
a
the
mint
end.
in there. It's
but
just.
in the beginning of this, I'm getting a strong, like a fresh baked bread. I think you absolutely 100% knock this out of the park. I would buy this over and over again. I'm actually loving it. I know you're not the mint end guy.
No, it's not because it's not screaming
Right.
high rye.
It's not
actually,
a rye, like it's not
No,
over, like
it's
a
not even
95
called a
rye.
rye, but
No,
it's
it
just
isn't. It isn't. It's just a high rye.
You just get that
right.
minimal hint in the background, which is gonna just. All I said is screw me in a bind, but I shouldn't care about that. I'm talking about this, but the nose is coming around. The nose is like this nose is way better than the two we had.
I think the viscosity beats them both too. It has a nice oily feel on your mouth. It coats well. You get that like fresh baked
wasn't
bread.
one of them a 5 or 6 year, and one was a 4.
I know. I don't understand it. I'm telling you.
I'm with you there. I get it, and we're
a lot of times we want to
like
shit on the craft
goofballs.
people. This is phenomenal to me. I really like this one. If
It's worth the ride.
Yeah.
Or if you live out that way, you're not going to go wrong for $40.
I'd have to find out. I know he did buy us a bunch of stuff when he was in New York. I don't know if he got this when he was out because he was just over the one of the bridges. He didn't go over to George Washington, what is the Tappan Sea. So wherever he was meeting his buddy was just over the bridge, and it was like right there. He may have got this in New York. I don't know how far this goes out, but if you have a chance to grab it for $39.99, I think this brings so much taste and flavor. And if you like that,
and who knows, that's batch 2 2022, so that's they may or may not. They got to be in this year by now, but
yeah. Again, I have no idea. I've never seen this in
no,
Massachusetts.
no.
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't know what kind of distribution they have, but there is a couple people that have mentioned that hey, I'm from New York. I can swing up and stuff like that. So stuff like that. So if you've tried this, leave a comment down below. I think honestly, I know it finishes a little minty and a little like you brushed your teeth,
not
but
outrageous.
it just brings to me that's just more. It's that complexity of flavor. You get the fresh baked bread, and then it ends with a nice cool mint.
This is the first time I actually do get a bread, like
right?
a bread.
Right. That's why I'm starting to think maybe it's the yeast because we got a few out of. I got it off of that Tacoma
or whatever,
and that Black Button was out of New York. There's a few that I've gotten out of New York now that have that, but I'm really getting that nice.
That sunshiny feel and the fog.
I don't know. I don't know. But
sorry to you New Yorkers. You know how we feel?
I love all New Yorkers. Honestly, I think this is a banging bottle. I like this a lot. And at $39.99, I think it's a buy all day. And I agree with you. We just did two $60 and $70 bottles that I think this crushes it.
We'll have to do one of them, I guess. Take a few crafts and see in a blind.
Do we have? Oh, we can do that.
We do down the road.
The ones we have waiting. Okay.
And there's more probably to come because I'm going up north and I'm sure I'll find it.
Well, and like my buddies from Georgia was that was MGP though. That wasn't straight craft. You're talking the ones that they actually make. This is phenomenal. This is actually
this one
a very good one.
Those guys were on the right track on the last one that we did.
Yep.
But they were it's 2 for 1.
100%. Well, actually.
Yeah, it was $79.99, $49.39. So it's 2 for 1.
Yeah, 2 for 1.
And this nose is probably better than it's way better. And
the viscosity and the flavor.
And it wasn't
and the
even
taste.
100 proof, I don't think, right? It wasn't like 93, 92.
That top knot you're talking? Yeah, I don't think it was. I agree with you. That's what I'm saying.
It's fun. It's okay. So it's fun. He hasn't been there yet. I'll have to drag his ass out one of these days, and we'll go try a couple or do a little blind thing. But when you get there, it's sometimes you don't even want to say what you do because I don't usually tell them that I do this because then it's like now you feel obligated. You have to buy the bottle, even though it sucked. And but I have walked out of a couple that I'm like,
Far be it for me to tell the truth. I'll tell you. I mean, honest with you.
No,
it is
they're
what
like,
it
"What
is,
you
so-
think?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's not for me."
Hmm.
I have done that. It's
Yeah.
it's I'm not spending $85 for a
No,
Scotch or a malt, and it's like that's not what I'm looking for.
I had said that anyways. Eventually, it would be nice. Well, schedules, work schedules, stuff like that. But it would be nice one time to actually just go tour one anyway. I'd love to film it. I mean, I said there's different things we'd like to do, just as something,
It would definitely be
as a
different.
change on, something else to see.
This has a way mintier nose than the flavor.
It just finishes with like a hint of a mint.
Very, very end though, not
No,
overpowering.
I agree with
The
you.
nose comes in, and again, that's gonna just say I'll be like rye.
But it's not. That's why I'm saying like it's a
But it
tenth
has
minty
all-
as the last one was, and that one wasn't overly minty. But this one to me is just like a hint of mint at the end, and to me it's just it's
The
lovely
nose is
as
the
you would
low-
like. It's just lovely. That's it.
And for the price, it's well
Yeah.
worth the money.
Again, 4-year, 100. It right on nose for the price.
I'm
I'm shocked.
I never Googled these guys, so I don't even know what their shop looks like. I'm sure they got.
Oh,
pictures of it or
I
whatever,
didn't
but-
go that far. I was on their website, and that's how I learned all that stuff. But honestly, I forgot how good this bottle was. Like it's been up there, and we hit it every time he comes. But it's usually down the line and all this stuff, and we forget.
He's got a second storage over here. So
I forget. By the time we drank half
30,
a Ryan and all of them.
80.
Yeah, exactly. So it's funny, but like this was one of the ones. Once I smelt it, I went, "Oh, he's gonna yell at me," because I knew one of them over there did this. But it's to me,
the
it's
initial
not.
nose, I was like, "Oh, he's fucking with me." But
No.
the taste is not. It's actually.
I
pretty
love
tasty.
that fresh baked bread in the beginning.
It
I
does.
just
It does
think
have that.
It really. Oh no, that's all the time. As I tell you,
now,
it really does.
Now though, I don't get the huge mint in the
Last
beginning.
time
I
you
got the
said
mint.
Play-Doh. So now, no, right. It's not coming off. It's only in the palate now. Like just right at the very end to me too.
Tail end.
So when I put it on my tongue and I let it sit there,
It's got
Steve's
a
bottle. I was
really
going to
good
refill
nose.
with it, but when I put it on my tongue and I let it sit there, it just
We'll take it.
he doesn't care. It like I really get that fresh bread flavor. But then when I swallow is when I hit the mint. To me,
But it's so light.
mm-hmm.
This is pretty.
That's what I'm saying. I wanted it to sit for a minute because of that. We're gonna do a little bit just on it because when it sits,
Look, I'm going for. Oh, it's just a bourbon that tastes.
it is a bourbon. You can't say this isn't the rye you like. It's because honestly, don't quote me on the percentages, but I want to say Old Grandad is 32% rye. It doesn't taste anything like this, and that's what I'm saying. Like to me, this brings so much more complexity that even Old Grandad 100 did. This would crush that to me. I think this brings so much more flavor to the table.
Again,
And I like that one.
They're on a huge great start.
Yep.
Well, they've probably been doing it longer than who knows. I don't know how long they've been around, but
Yeah.
might have said Bottery didn't catch that.
Well, you figure 4 years,
least
and
for
it
that.
didn't say anything about it not being their juices. So 100% said locally grown grain
No,
stuff. So
even on the bottle.
if I'm not mistaken, I want to say this might even be one of the distilleries. I do so much research, so you have to apologize. I'm spitballing here, but it might be one of the ones that they were like, we waited. We wanted to start with a bottle and bond, so you know what I mean. Like they didn't source, they didn't do anything. They just took the hit.
And they probably
You know?
did a white liquor, and I'm sure they have
like
a
the
gin and
and
the
all
liquor.
this stuff, probably.
But and they did a white whiskey,
Mhm.
and they probably did a 2-year, bourbon.
Because there was other ones that were like, first one, I want to say actually Wilderness Trail might have been one.
They're
I don't even
right
remember
there.
now. Yeah. No, I think this is absolutely delicious. So if you have not tried this and you have it anywhere near you, actually leave a comment down below because I'll be curious how much of a distribution it actually gets out of there.
That's probably their biggest troubling.
That's the problem with craft distilleries, though, is because they don't
They
get
don't-
that. They don't have the availability to because
And
they
they
have
don't
to
make
get
it.
a major. Well, that's what I'm saying. Because
Because he's not on 40 acres.
I don't know how big the still is and how much they're actually producing, but when you think about 50 states, and if you're going to actually, like we complain about not getting distribution out there, but that's millions of gallons that have to
we
go out.
complain with Benchmark, and we complain with the
The
big
major
ones
players
that
come
have 50
anyways.
acres
And they're
have
coming
friggin'
anyways, right?
stills out the gazoo.
Right.
That's who we're complaining. These guys, I'm not complaining about. I
No.
get it.
No, right. No, because they don't have access
they
to
could
that.
maybe even interact amongst other distillers,
Right.
in house.
It's too bad because honestly, this is.
That'd be a
I'm not
cool
going to say
idea.
this would not the bourbon of the year by any means, but this is phenomenal $40 bourbon. Like I would compare other ones that I say when I go back to Old Forester, totally different nose, totally different profile, but I like it that much. It's bringing such a complexity for a $40 bourbon. This is phenomenal. That's my honest opinion. Like I would put it in a caliber. It doesn't taste anything like it, but I put it in that caliber where I get multiple flavors in a sip,
and multiple nose,
and it just keeps getting better in a glass. As it sits here, it just keeps getting better in a glass.
The more you keep babbling.
Well, we are going to wrap this one up because I know I just did a Friday, and now it's going to be a busy Sunday. So, Field and Stream, straight bourbon whiskey, 100% buy all day.
Try that again. You know what?
Oh, Field and Stream.
You know
that's not the magazine. Field and Sound. I was so busy about straight bourbon whiskey. It's a bottle in one.
It struck me funny because I'm like, I haven't seen that. I think
that was the Field. The Boy Scouts did do that, yeah.
We were big boys.
The Cub Scouts back in the day had the Field and Stream magazine, but heck, Field and Stream, change your name. I like that one better. Yeah, no, Field and Sound. Hey, if you're watching, absolutely A+. Hell of a job. I think they did a great job. So, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Spend less, drink more. Cheers.
Subscribe. That was probably a funny thing.